Hello and welcome to my small and bijou studio. This is Robin Armstrong from Cosmograf. You are watching liveprog.com.
Hello there, welcome to liveprog. I am your host Marcel Hasser. Welcome to a very special video review. Video review number 200. Amazing, where did the time go? I can remember that I did my 10th video review and I was really excited because that was a bit of a milestone for me. And now I've already done 199. Very happy to have reached this point. This point does not mean the end for it, definitely not. I will keep on going as long as I can because I really enjoy bringing my reviews to you. I hope you will enjoy my reviews as well. I'm trying to make them entertaining and interesting and informative enough. And if you missed any, check out liveprog.com or even youtube.com/liveprog and you can watch all of them and even more because I also did some interviews and a lot of other things. And I really hope that, in the next period of time I can bring you more interesting things. Now, enough about that. Let's move on to why you're watching this review, the music. Let's bring out the album of this review. Here it is then. I proudly present to you Cosmograf, the man left in space.
My life behind me to change the human race.
2013 started out as a very good year for music because there were a lot of amazing releases, and out of these amazing releases, I decided to pick one to be my review number 200. This is the one. Cosmograf, the man left in space. Why? Because I absolutely love this album. Because it's an independent musician, and as you know, I definitely have a soft spot for independent musicians. I like to support them, and promote them whenever I can. And this is an album that deserves a lot of promotion, a lot of attention, because it is a stunning album. When I was listening to this album, and I mentioned it on Facebook, and I'm not sure, should I mention it? Well, you know what, it's my review. I can say what I want. Porn for your ears. Really, trust me, because there's such beautiful, stunning, phenomenal music on this album that you will have a blast listening to it. All of this music has been composed by Robin Armstrong. He's the man behind Cosmograf. Now, if you're not familiar with him, definitely look him up. He's a real storyteller because all of his albums are concept albums. I discovered his music in 2011 when I reviewed his third release, When Age Has Done Its Duty. And I gotta say, I was really surprised by that album. It was very beautiful and I really enjoyed listening to it. So of course, when he came up with another album, I was very curious. Well, I can tell you, When Age Has Done Its Duty surprised me. The Man Left in Space blew me away. Because this is absolutely brilliant. Now, a lot of praise. I'm sorry, but that's what happens when you listen to this album. The story is of course, giveaway, set in space. In a nutshell, it's a man who happens to be in space, all alone, wondering how he got there and how will he ever get back, and well, everything in between. The vibe on the album is so beautiful. When I was listening to it, I really had the thought, the ghost of Pink Floyd is found on this album, because it reaches the same level. The guitar parts are so good, so fantastic, so brilliant. Also, the narration bits in between give this a real Pink Floyd idea. The Dark Side of the Moon comes into mind when you listen to this album. It is really fantastic music, well composed, beautiful songs, a lot of variety in it. Well, you know what, I'll tell you a little bit more. I'm not gonna tell you everything about this album because I think that you don't need to know everything of this album before you want to buy it, because this is simply a blind purchase. You can just walk up to your store or order it online without having heard a single note, and trust me, you will love it. Absolutely. The nice thing is with a lot of these independent musicians is they also always invite some friends and some other musicians to do guest parts on their album. When I was looking at the lineup, I mean, it is a Cosmograf album, it is a Robin Armstrong album, and he does a lot. I mean, he of course wrote the whole thing, he thought up the concept, he plays guitars, keyboards, drums, even bass, he does the vocals. When it comes to his guitar parts, no, in a moment, vocals. Vocals, I really enjoyed the way he sang on this album, especially because you can imagine, being all alone in space isn't the happiest thing, and his voice has that hint of melancholy in it that fits the mood of probably the person who is there. When it comes to guitars, man, where do I start? There are a couple of amazing guitar players on this album, but the biggest surprise was when I was listening to the album. The first bit is instrumental, it's a very short song, it's basically introducing the story, but what comes then is called Aspire Achieve, the second track of the album, the longest track, a little over 10 minutes. And I was just listening to the guitar parts on that track, and I was like, wow, this is really good, you know, it starts very melodic, but it goes really heavy, and I figured, wow, who played that? Which of the guests did that guitar track? And I looked at the booklet and I said, Robin Armstrong vocals, guitars, keyboard, drums, wow! Robin Armstrong did it. He is a very good guitar player. I was really surprised by it. Nevertheless, moving on in the guitar area, there's so much, to enjoy. It's like being in a candy shop when it comes to that. Because the second track, I gotta be honest, stood out for me just a little bit higher. The Good Earth Behind Me has a stunning, superb guitar part by Mr. Simon Rogers from Also Eden. Every time I hear that track, I get goosebumps. I love it very much. Beautiful track, but we keep on going because there is so much more guitar work to be enjoyed. The Vacuum That I Fly Through is an instrumental track. Has a completely different kind of sound, more laid back, a little bit of a bluesy sound, featuring Mr. Matt Stevens on lead guitar. Mr. Robin Armstrong also does some guitar parts, but Matt Stevens lead guitar. And again, a stunning song. And again, I mean, I've heard solo work by Matt Stevens and he is an absolute brilliant guitar player. And again, he adds so much flavor to this album. Then we skip a track and we move on to We Disconnect, track number 6. And there we have a very talented young man. I had the privilege and pleasure to meet him, see him on stage. He used to play with the Tangent. He has his own band called Machine. Look Machine. Really awesome. He's playing on this album as well. And again, you just listen to it. Absolutely stunning. There are more guest musicians. I'm going to mention them, but won't tell much about them. Steve Dunn from Also Eden, bass guitar. Dave Ware on drums. Greg Spotton from Big Big Train. Also on bass we have Lee Abraham on bass, and we have Dave Moroz on bass. So a couple of bass players from well-known bands.
He lost the human race. He stretched too far. The man they left in space.
One more musician I'm going to mention, Nick DeVirgilio. He played drums with Spock's Beard, he plays drums with Big Big Train, he plays drums on this album. Wow. If you just listen to how amazingly groovy his drum work sounds, absolutely fantastic. So, I'm gonna leave it at that, because you just gotta listen to this album and find out a lot more. Now, there's one thing I'm gonna tell you. That's one thing that I also noticed and I absolutely love on this album. I thought there was another guest musician in the track Beautiful Treadmill, but it wasn't. I would honestly have believed if it would have said vocals Devin Townsend, because that's the way Mr. Robin Armstrong sings in that track, and I love that very much. It fits in the music, and it's definitely one of those tracks that stand out and I love. But you know, let's face it, this entire album stands out. In every detail, in every aspect it stands out. There are amazing musicians performing the music. The songs are well composed. You know, basically I have nothing but praise for this album. Of course, a nice cover as well. Well, not a nice cover, a beautiful cover, really beautiful artwork inside, and that, well, a good album should have a nice cover, should have great artwork done by Mr. Graham Bell from Planet Twig. He also did the artwork on When Age Has Done His Duty and a lot of other interesting releases, so check out his work. All I can say is that this album, Cosmograf, The Man Left in Space, is a blind purchase, is an absolute must-have. You know, buy this album, make sure you get it. And let me give you one piece of advice. When you have this album, find a cozy spot, a comfortable spot, a bed, a chair, a couch, whatever. Dim the lights, put this album on, put some headphones on, close your eyes and listen to the music, and I will tell you, you will be in music heaven. Cosmograf, The Man Left in Space.
In his controversial book, The Man Left in Space, Dr. Samuel Harrison examines the psychology of achievement. Harrison presents a compelling theory that overachievement is a quick fix for wounded self-esteem, and that chronically overachieving people don't realize that unrecognized needs are driving them from the healing conditions necessary for fulfilled lives. Does achievement beyond expectation in any field lead to obsession, dysfunction, and ultimately an inability to perform? The reward for success, it seems, is sometimes to be destroyed by failure. In the first of two programs, we will be talking to Dr. Harrison, himself a self-confessed overachiever, alcoholic and manic depressive, and asking him if success can really be a curse. 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 Be a curse.